GM, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of If You Know, You Know, the show for Web3 creators and enthusiasts. I am your host, Val, and each week I am joined by Web3 experts to bring you the latest trends, opportunities, and perspectives from the creators who are shaping the future of technology and art. Nothing we ever say is ever financial advice, and it's always super important to do your own research. If this is your first time joining us, we do the show live on X every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can also find us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Today, we're actually streaming live on X. We are also on YouTube, and we are also on live Twitter Spaces. If you see me on my phone, guys, it's because I'm having technical issues today, and we're just going to be rolling with it, okay? So I had been playing music. Absolutely nobody heard it. I heard it on my own. I was vibing to the music. And so I am off to a very good start. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Listen, by the way, we're going to be giving out a free NFT today. I'm super excited for that. We have Stepin with us, with one of the ambassadors joining us today. So we got a couple of different topics on the roster for today. We're going to be talking about RWAs, real world assets. Real world assets right now are kicking ass. It's a category in and of itself that has really been garnering a lot of attention because truly, we live in this virtual world. We talk about all these virtual assets. We buy our NFTs. We do all these things online. But if you cannot connect it to the real world, then how do we expect to be able to onboard other people in a very tangible way, right? So I think that RWAs is a really good way of doing that. Stepin has been a part of that journey in the NFT space for quite a while already. So I'm really happy to get to know you guys more. And this is actually the second time that we bring Stepin onto the show. So I'm super excited to circle back on that. We also have Art Jedi, who is joining us today in a little bit. I'm super excited to have her on because, listen, Art Jedi is one of the most OG artists in the space that you can possibly talk to. A real, true artist that knows the space in and out. Not only is she an amazing artist, but she's freaking brainiac and very smart, and always has excellent takes on everything. And then last but not least, we're also going to be talking about runes. Did it overwhelm you? Was it everything that you expected? Did you make bank off of it, or did you already paper hand some of them, or were you not even able to participate at all? Right? I mean, there were a lot of different possibilities that you could have spent the last 5 days on. So with no further ado, I want to welcome to the stage the Greek Queen, who is joining us on video as well as on Twitter Spaces. My love, I am going to try the audio as best as possible, but work with me here in case we need to change anything. But here we go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Nope, of course not.
Great.
Can't hear you at all. 1 second, hold on. 1 second. Say something again.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you on Twitter Spaces
from the phone,
but I can't hear you on the video. Okay. So turn off your phone and turn on the one on video stream. Let's see if that works.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Only via the phone. 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. Try it again.
Can you hear me now? Oh,
damn it. No. All right. Thumbs up. Okay. Hold on. We're going to have to troubleshoot this for a second. Hold on. Okay. Say something again.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, that worked. What? That worked. Okay, that worked. I'm so excited.
Hi guys. Hi Val.
Hello, so excited to have you on here. I don't know what I moved or what I changed, but the settings ended up working. So, hooray, hooray. I'm super happy for that. How are you? Hello, welcome to the show. I'd love for you to quickly introduce yourself and then let's just get right into the topic.
Yes. Well, hi guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm the Greek Queen, and I've recently joined Stepen as a champion. Champions are the new program of the ambassadors. And I'm just here to talk all about Stepen. I've been using Stepen pretty much since the beginning. I've been through it all, and I'm still here, and I love it, and I'm excited and to talk all about Stepen and how you could join and answer any questions and talk about the groundbreaking partnership that we've just did with Adidas and and also highlight that two legendary women made that happen. So yeah, I think it's so cool that we are here and we are women and we're talking about a legendary partnership that was made possible by two women, one from Adidas and Erica, and then one from Stepen FSL Shitty, who actually recently took over as CEO for the company. So very excited. I'm
I
very
had no
inspired
idea.
actually. You really? Yeah, a
No,
lot
I
of
had no
people
idea
didn't.
that it was female or like female led. I had no idea, but hey, that
Yeah,
makes me
yeah.
even more bullish. Let's go back to the beginning,
Yes.
right? Let's go back to
Yes.
the beginning. For those of us who have been in this space for a minute, for a couple of years, Steppen is not a new name. For when Steppen first came out on the block, so many people on the Solana side. Actually, this was in the very genesis of Solana. Not a lot of new NFTs had come up yet, or not a lot that were really groundbreaking and made people money. Let's
Yeah.
just call it a spade. Made a lot of people money, which is one of the things that attracts Solana
Of
users so
course.
much, right? As it should be. When Steppen came out, it was very revolutionary because it was something that we were already doing. Everybody already walks, but it was the first time in which something connected, again, RWAs, in which something connected to make it tangible into something that we use every single day in a real world asset. And so it was revolutionary, but it was also incredibly successful. So I want to take it back to then, because that was about 2 years ago. Correct me if I'm
Well,
wrong.
the story is that it started as Stepen, and they participated in the Solana hackathon back in November of 21. And I think they placed fourth, um, something like that. I think they placed fourth, and then they started from there. They minted 10,000 Genesis shoes. So what the premise is you buy an NFT, which is a shoe, and every shoe equates to 5 minutes. One energy is 5 minutes of walking. So for the 5 minutes that you walk, you earn GST, which is the token that you earn while walking. They also have a governance token, which is GMT, which was very popular and it launched on Binance. So the more shoes you have, the more energy you have. So the more time you have to walk, and then you earn more money. And then there's also some twist. There's a category in the shoes. You start with the common, uncommon, rare, and epic. And then as the years progressed, there's been a lot of changes in Stepen, because when it's crazy, because when Stepen was at its peak, we had almost a million users using it, and that was like in April, May of 22. And there was more turnover being generated in the Stepen marketplace than Magic Eden at the time. So in terms of numbers, they've really broken everything, all the ceilings and stuff. But then the bear happened, and then the GST crashed, and we all thought that we're gonna make millions by walking. But the reality, and if you are very new to Web3, and Stepen was your first experience, a lot of people were disappointed, and I completely get it. I've been there
Yeah.
since the beginning. But Stepen is not only about just making money, Stepen wants to just like break this barrier of Web3 and crypto. And I think this is what the Adidas collaboration is all about, just to be fit, to be healthy, to gamify your fitness. I personally am very athletic, so I love walking and training. So this comes easily to me. But there's like hundreds of thousands of people that didn't have that. And through Steppen became more athletic because they liked the gamification of it. And I think this, in terms of what we're saying about RWAs and Adidas and the partnership, I think long term, I think is getting stepping into the norms, like onboard yourself to a game and then keep yourself fit. And then if you earn also something, that's great. But that's not like the main focus. And I think when mass adoption comes, you're going to be looking at things that are going to have value and that are going to hold value long term, So, yeah.
That's really exciting. So you guys partnered with Adidas, no less, which is amazing, right? I think who in the world literally does not know the brand Adidas?
Yeah.
Talk to us about how that went.
Well, they recently Steppen announced a collaboration with Adidas and Alt by Adidas, and this was spearheaded by Shiti, who, as I mentioned, is the CEO, and Erica, who is vice president for Adidas. And I think the whole idea was just to just cross over Web3 and Web2 and then just create something that will just be groundbreaking. And to start that off, they raffled off 1,000 sneakers, 1,000 Genesis sneakers. Genesis sneakers is like not financial advice, but if you wanted to invest in something, I would invest in a Genesis sneaker because they just hold so much value. And Find Satoshi Labs rewards extremely well the community, and if you participate in the ecosystem. I mean, this year they airdropped $30 million worth of GMT to Genesis sneakers owners. It's just crazy. And also because they've been rewarding Genesis in the past, they've listened to the community, so they've changed also the criteria, so everybody gets rewarded. So if you start participating in the Steppen ecosystem and you still can't invest in the Genesis, but you start slowly and you use the game and then you use some of the other products, eventually you will get rewarded for that. And I think this is really, really great, because we are in the meta where, I need to do this and I need the airdrop and I need the money and then bye-bye,
Yeah.
I think Steppen is very different because they've got so many, not only Steppen, but Find Satoshi Labs, they have so many different products as well. They have a marketplace, they have a DEX, they have groundbreaking collaborations. They have another collaboration with Honeyland at the moment, and they're doing a raffle to do some OG shoes and one Genesis sneaker. And there's already, I think, 30 million GMT locked already in 24 hours. I mean, the demand and the response to the collaborations that Steppen brings to the table, I have not seen them anywhere else in Web3. They just come and knock it out of the park every time. And to be honest, with Adidas, I think we're gonna be seeing a lot more, but they just also, they don't tell us also everything. So they keep us excited and they keep us guessing, and it's amazing.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. So today we are giving out a common sneaker, right?
On the Solana blockchain. Yes. So if you have a Steppen account, the winner, we will send you the shoe. So yes, if you have any questions, you can always contact me. And I was also thinking, based on what we said, I'm going to do a little thread and post it under the space. So if people have some questions and stuff, how to start with Steppen. I mean, it's really easy. You go on steppen.com, you choose your shoes, and then you just start playing. So it's very, very easy. And it's there's been Steppen started, and then there's been so many move to earn, play to earn, meta, so much, but none of them has been as successful, and none of them have had the heart of the community that we have. And I have met some of my best friends they ended up being my best friends in real life, but I've met them through Steppen. And I have this really cool story. I have this really cool best friends of mine. We've been DJing and in Steppen for 2.5 years. And I actually met them in real life a few weeks ago. I was in Athens, so we finally met for drinks. And I was telling them about Steppen and Genesis, and it's so cool, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh my God, we haven't walked for ages. And we walked, they have a little bar very close where we had dinner. So we said, okay, let's walk over and let's put Steppen on. And she's like, I haven't used it for months. I was like, yeah, do it. Let's do it. And we walked for like 10 minutes. She hadn't used it for like, I don't know, a year. And 3 days later, Steppen announced this super airdrop that to be eligible, you had to have at least 10 minutes activity in the last month. So my walk with her gave her 3,000 GMT in airdrop, so which was amazing. If you look, if GMT goes back to all-time high, which is $4, it would be, and she holds on to it, this will be $12,000 for taking a walk with me. This is so cool.
Holy smokes, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money, And I do think that, again, not financial advice. I do think Steppen will break through once the bull run starts and once the normies start coming back. Solana is slowly climbing back to the top. And Steppen also has different realms as well. You can also buy shoes on the Binance Smart Chain and on the Ethereum. So there's different realms that you can play and different strategies. And there's actually also a very cool website called Steppen Market Guide. So you can go and you can filter through to find exactly the sneaker that you want. If you want your strategy to be luck and you want to go and find gems and stuff like that. So the gamification of it, it's like a game. It is a game,
So walk me through. Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. Okay, so once a person purchases the NFT, the Solana NFT, right?
Yes. I can show you here. I can show you here my app. I have it here on my phone. So you have the app. Can you see?
Yes, now I can.
And you see the shoes?
Yep.
And then there's a start button. And you click start and you start walking. And then there's a timer. And then you hold your phone. And then you can see the distance covered. And then every time you earn the GST, you hear a cling, cling. And then when it finishes, there is a bar that you can see. So you have your I don't know if you can see. There's 4 slots for earning mystery boxes. And you can see your energy. And then you can go to your inventory. And then you can look at your shoes. And there's so many things you can do. Like you can mint shoes together and then you can get higher rarity. I mean, the stories are crazy, Shoes were like, the prices of shoes. There was, I think a rare Solana sneaker back in May was $50,000-$60,000. It was crazy, it was crazy.
Wow.
Maybe we get back to that. I don't know. I mean, looking at some of like the games and in-game items, how expensive they are. Not like the earn meta, but other games, having special skins in a game and weapons and stuff like that. I don't think that will ever lose its value. So
that's really cool. That's really, really cool. I want to circle back to that a little bit later. And also because I want to ask you 2 different questions. Number 1, goodness, girl, look at your arms. Seriously. Like you've been talking and I'm looking at you and I'm like, shit, I need to hit the gym. Seriously.
I did some extra shoulders today because I knew we were going to be on the live stream. So
no, you're looking good. I know we have 190 people viewing right now. Look, I know they're not here for me. They're here for you. So congratulations on that, number 1. And then I want to circle back because You're not just Greek DJing for like no reason. I happen to know that you are actually in the trenches of the
Yeah.
DJing world, and I want to tap into that. But before we do, I want to say hello to Art Jedi and bring her up because I know that she's on limited time, and I definitely want to get her up here before she leaves. Art Jedi, my love, how are you?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh my God, look at you, both of you beauties. I'm a bit scared to come on the video, so I'm going to stick to the voice today.
Oh man, please. But you're one of those that actually has your picture as your PFP, so that works too.
Definitely. Pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for the invitation. I was using Stepn 2022 quite a lot. I need to check back on the app because I had thousands and thousands of points. I don't really know why I stopped using it. It wasn't the bear. But yeah, I'm glad to know that it's still here and making waves.
Yes, they are. I'm so glad that you had a part in it. Our Jedi, I want to, first of all, I know that you're on limited time, so I'm going to hit right into it. Introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and then I want to hear about the new show that you are hosting, as well as your thoughts on the topic today of ordinals and runes. I know that you on your show have been discussing this a little bit more, and I know that I hope you're going to talk about this, but if not, I'm going to tee you up because I'm super curious about it as well about as an artist in the space, as an OG artist in the space, how are you embracing the ordinal side of the ecosystem? And what are your thoughts just in general on where we are in runes?
Yes. So I could introduce myself one of several ways, but I guess suffice to say I'm an artist for a very long time, from a self-taught artist to what's the word? Just making my way through hard work and all the struggle of contemporary art world, navigating my way through. And it's been 16 years of committed art, full-time art practice. I found Web3 in 2021, very early on, and education is one of my prime interests in this space and the potential of technology in the individual art practices as well as wider cultural and historical impact on the contemporary art world. And to continue to answer your question, I inscribed 5 ordinals on Bitcoin on the 12th of Feb 2023. I have sub 64, 65K ordinals. So 5 of them, 3 of them are from my Vorterscapes, 2 of them from my Luminosity series that I haven't yet shown anybody here in Web3, but it was really important to me to explore this technology. And talking about Bitcoin, art on Bitcoin isn't new. If anyone's done any research, you'll find that through Counterparty and all of the different protocols, artists have been trying to make their mark on the Bitcoin blockchain since 2013, or even earlier, but 2013 as far as I've found a lot of interesting art. And so I've been really interested in finding out how this technological advancements are making its way on the Bitcoin and culture as well as it's evolving.
What are you hearing from the community, the artist community, in maybe a year into ordinals, the feeling, the cultural significance of it, the embracement of it, etc. Has it changed at all, or does it continue to be the same as it was from the very beginning?
Since last year, I would have to be honest, even I lost a bit of touch during, I guess, I would say the middle of last year, because there was too much noise and suddenly things moved quite fast, like Gamma.io came on the scene. It really championed interest of the artists on the Bitcoin art landscape. And then there are other little markets popping up as well. You'll be hearing about them. I know a few, like Adore. Bit Savage, who's one of my co-hosts, has been building this marketplace, multi-chain marketplace for at least 2 or 3 years. And it's still in beta. So like art is going to pop up on Bitcoin, but the main problem for artists that I hear is the technical jargon, because it's not straightforward. As even ETH is not straightforward for people who don't know what it is, but Bitcoin's even more complicated. And a lot of artists, the whole reason I started doing this weekly spaces on Twitter on Tuesdays was to really break it down in layman terms, the technological aspects, the terms, the tools, because nothing is cohesive. You can't just go to one place and find all the information. So it's just a very casual and friendly place to come and talk about, ask questions and learn about resources. And I think that's the major kind of hurdle for a lot of artists to explore. They think it's very expensive, whereas I mean, right now it is in these couple of weeks because of the launch of Rune protocols. However, it's not that expensive compared to when ETH gas is really high as well. So it's all about mindset as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And to your point, I've heard and been a lot of part of the conversations on how difficult it is to understand it and to really be able to explain it to someone else. They say that unless you're able to explain a concept or something to another person, then you don't fully grasp it. And I've been hosting spaces for so long that I consider myself one of those people that people ask me the questions, right? What is so and so? And I've answered it live on spaces so many times, but it's one of my own targets to understand myself, if I understand it correctly, by being able to explain it to a normie, if you will, by being able to explain it to someone that doesn't understand or speak the daily language that we do. And even I struggle on being able to explain exactly what an ordinal is, or even now more so what a BRC20 is or a rune is. So my personal opinion, and I would love your opinion, and then also Greek Queen, your opinion on this. I would love, like, where do we, without having a crystal ball in our hands, at what point do we actually get to explain it in an easy to understand way to these normies when it relates to ordinals and stuff, right? Or did I go first? And then I want to hear from Greek Queen.
Do I think once we get like the clear answer, then the normies will be onboarded, because everyone is so worried that crypto is just a scam, and anything crypto related is, you're going to get rugged, and it's like, I don't know, the devil is going to come and get you or something like that. It's so hard. And I was speaking of artists and Bitcoin, I'm an amateur photographer, and I traveled on the Trans-Siberian a few years ago, and I shot this amazing series. And I had this idea last year when the Ordinals came about, that I'm just gonna inscribe my series, 24 images. I'm gonna do one-of-ones. Like, it took me weeks to try and explain to my friend that we edited the photos together to get them into a size that it would be, that was before recursive inscriptions. So size mattered. And then you had like an image, and then I could only do like a little corner, and that still was going to cost me $500 just to inscribe. And it's just so hard, I think we have a long way to go to, but what you are doing with mini whales, I think you are going to change. I think you're going to change that with Taro, and I'm rooting for you. And I think that, this is what you've been working on for so long. This is the question. How do you explain it? How do you explain that this is the technology of the future, that everything will run on the blockchain eventually? It's a hard question.
It's a hard question, and I think that it's one of the most important ones that we have, right? right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the things like, I, when I was 18, I was like, oh, I want to be a photographer. And I traveled on the Trans-Siberian a few years ago, and I shot this amazing series. And I had this idea last year when the Ordinals came about, that I'm just gonna inscribe my series, 24 images. I'm gonna do one-of-ones. I feel that I have found my tribe, you
Yeah.
know, and I
Yeah.
am in that. I am in that moment in time where I will be able to say to my children that I was there
Yeah.
when this happened. And this for me is so important. And when I try and explain it to my normie friends and they don't get it, I get so mad. So I'm working on how to translate it. But I think, like, with going back to Steppen, they are just crossing the boundary, because you want to gamify your fitness, just buy a shoe and start walking,
Yeah.
and stop thinking about earning money and making millions. This will come eventually. If you are in the trenches, the millions will come eventually. I
Yeah.
really believe that. Millions, or whatever it is that you're working on, even as an artist or as a content creator, you're here, you're grinding. Eventually you know you will get your day. So
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hear that last part, but yes, absolutely, I agree with you. Our Jedi, I would love your take on that.
So my answer is going to be slightly controversial, or in two parts. One, mainly the whole crypto art or crypto market itself is niche, and I'm not really I'm not really massively bullish on mass adoption just yet, because we haven't solved the security issues. We haven't solved a lot of cultural things. How are you comfortable inviting your family and friends in this market where they can just literally lose everything to a click, a scammy click on some link? And all of these things come first. Like, we have to solve the kind of parallel issues first before we even consider mass adoption. And I'm a big proponent of improving situation from within. So massively, my priority is to help educate artists. And it's not like I'm an expert. No one is. Still about 4 years into it. We're still learning, because every day some new technology comes and changes and shifts everything. But few things have established themselves in this. Some of the cultures um, kind of made apparent, and a lot of the cultural issues that were really prominent in Web 2 have infiltrated into Web 3 as well. The simple answer is education. Like, for instance, Granny, if you don't know, there's an artist in the community. She's 70 years old, and she finally inscribed her ordinals by herself, or with our help from, and on our second spaces. She came and she listened, she asked questions, she followed the steps that we showed her, and she inscribed by herself. It's not that complicated. It's just it takes somebody's patience to sit there and listen and talk in a way that actually helps, rather than with some kind of superiority complex that a lot of people, if they're here 2 months prior to other people, sometimes develop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And you know what? That's not the first time that I've seen, maybe definitely the example that you gave, but it's not the first time that I've seen someone that's older and like go through the journey of being able to mint or inscribe their own NFT. And it is one of the loveliest things to see, because until we get to the point that it is that easy, um, then it's clunky and not quite where we want it to be, right? So I think that's spot on examples of what we should be looking forward to and what we should be moving towards and what we should be building towards. So yeah, I think that that's spot on. I want to shift gears just a little bit and get a little bit more degen, because I know that both of you guys have also, sometimes we all do, right? Put our degen hat on just a little bit. And ordinals, of course, continues to be something that is attractive and making money. Maybe not so much right now because of the runes. So just to give some landscape in case you are brand new to it. Um, Ordinals up until runes came out on Friday, yeah, or up until the halvening came out happening happened, and then the rune technology came out, and some of the liquidity shifted from ordinals to runes, and so you saw a lot of pre-runes go down, and runes have either shot all the way up. Some have, it was a spray and pray approach for a lot of us that were trading or getting into runes, right? And you either had the option of going into pre-runes and hoping that your runes airdrop or your claim was going to be good enough, or just straight putting liquidity into brand new runes that came out. But again, it was a liquidity shift from ordinals to runes. And so the ordinal prices have either plummeted or at the very best stayed right around the same where they were, BRC20s included with that. So I'm curious to see, what are both of you looking at, if anything at all? Is there something that is attracting you more than others? Is there like, what's your approach to this? And I respect both of you ladies from having, a very well-rounded experience in the space to know well enough and to have already gone through multiple cycles to know what to stay away from and what not. So I'm curious onto how are you playing this? Our Jedi, we can start with you if you want.
Yeah, so part of the conversations that we're hosting weekly, runes are included because, coins are really part of this economy, isn't it? And runes are different in a way where you can launch your NFTs. You will be able to, I've done some research, so you can, it's not just the shitcoins, you can actually launch your collections as possibly quote unquote NFTs. You can inscribe your collections, and there's like multiple things you can do. And people are already using, I think you can go and use recursive runes for music. So things will be really interesting with runes. And shitcoins were already on Bitcoin through Counterparty for a long time. But there's some technological limitations on Counterparty that Rune has resolved. I'm really interested. I almost etched my own rune yesterday. I think in a day or so I will be. I just wanted to kind of understand all of the different factors of like how much supply and what reserve should be and all of that. I'm definitely playing. I'm not staying back. I'm not going to be sidelined on this. So yeah. I think this is and it's not even expensive. It's like 70 to 100 quid. To just go and play, experiment, and see where that goes. Why not?
I agree. Are there any that you're already in?
I'm not yet, but I'll college my runes soon, so I'll probably get Dog, definitely, by Casey.
We already got it, our Jedi.
I need to check my wallet.
Yeah, it was.
I have that, so I think I'm happy with that. So my strategy was to sit back and not. If at any time, what I've learned, there's too much rush, too much hype. Always wait to watch, wait to like the camera sits. And if you have a lot of money to play with, that's great. But for me, as an artist, as a mother, I need to be cautious. Especially after being in this cycle for a while. So yeah, I'm happy with, and I think I will ape in, if that's the word we can use for runes, in a couple of other communities and just play with that. I think right now artists should really go and find out like which communities are really active on runes and what kind of utilities they're providing to their community. And some are free, some are really like is it Philo, right? I think their community is really good. I'm sorry, I can't remember the full name, but well, you know them. So like I'm exploring communities at the moment on runes, and I think the prices will go down a bit more, and then I can play a bit more. That's my strategy.
Yeah, I like that. Greek Queen, what about you?
Well, I got the runestone, so I was waiting on that, and then I was watching the price. And one of the things that I've promised myself that I need to do this bull run is to start selling things and not holding on to everything like forever. So I was watching it, but with the runestone, you just, because it's so new, you have no idea. And I didn't understand why why did Leo say the snapshot done and you can sell it? He should have said you need to hold on to your runestone to get your dog. That would make more sense, or some sort of incentive. So I have 3 small kids and they've been all sick, so I have not been able to be on the computer all the time. So I've kind of missed the all-time high of runestone, and then it dropped. So I was like, okay, so now I'm a proud dog holder. And
You're a
I
proud community owner.
and so I opened Unisat and I had like this thing, be careful because you may just lose everything if you click this. And I was like, okay, I'm about to go on Belle's show. I'm going to take my time to see that I'm not going to screw this up. So I'm just going to sit back and watch that. I also minted Room Door, which was from Beyond Capital, which was a very interesting one because no one really took it seriously. And he's the person who bought the father of the runestone, and he also minted one of the first 10 runes or something like that. So he's like in the top 10 runes. And if you are holding a runestone and a rune door, you're going to get Lobo, which is that shitcoin rune. So I'm waiting on that because of course I didn't sell at 0.3. Now it's at 0.0006. But that's okay, but I'm just very, very cautious, because one thing that I've learned is that sometimes things happen so quickly that you just don't have time. And I with my life and with 3 kids, I just don't have the time to be digiting 24/7. I know that the moment I'm going to step away, this it's either going to go to the moon and I'm going to miss it. So I'm just taking a step back and watching it closer. But I do hold a few ordinals, and it's just going to be interesting. I just like Leo exudes such a confidence that this is going to be amazing. And he's also Greek, so hearing that, so we are very sure of ourselves. So I think maybe he's on to something. So, and I am holding it, and I'm just petrified that I'm going to click something and sell everything. So I need to learn how to batch the map and sell them in pieces if I want to, and maybe dilute them in some wallets, and then I can play. But I'm taking my time and I'm not rushing anything.
So you actually cannot unbatch them right now. You have to. Which is interesting because that was one of the arguments for pro runes. That's hard to say. For pro runes, one of the arguments was that you would be able to unbatch them.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we have not been able to unbatch them. You either sell them as a whole or not.
How are they going to be listed? Like how they're going to go up in value. You always have to buy 1 million of each. It's a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I have learned through this experience, so I've been heavily, maybe not heavily, because I just I haven't had the time to be at my computer 24/7, which, by the way, one of my most favorite things about this episode in particular is that we are all moms and we are all like very, very immersed in the space, and that we are all badass women, seriously, who are able to
Oh my gosh.
Yes, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are able to live, for real.
Grind like everybody, like a 20-year-old who lives at his mom's basement with no rent, no kids, no responsibilities.
Exactly. I think that the narrative and the image that we give out in Web3 is that you are a 17-year-old boy who lives in the basement of your mother's house, right? While that may be very true, maybe more like 21, 22 male versus, a 17-year-old boy. While that may be true, I think that it is underestimated the tremendous opportunities that we women are able to take from Web3. Some of those are freaking airdrops. I made $6,000 today just on airdrops, selling airdrops this morning. Like it wasn't even noon before I had done that. And I think that sometimes we think that it's only the teenage boys who are making those moves. And I'm here to tell you that, baby, it ain't. It's also the women who are kicking ass in there. So I was going to take a second that as a host to appreciate this moment of having 3 badass women on the space to push things forward, because seriously, we we represent a great opportunity in the space that isn't discussed enough, and isn't visible enough, because I think that if more women were to see this, and if more, at all levels, students, entrepreneurs, single moms, married moms, you know what I mean, like at all levels of life, if women were to see this, that it is a tremendous opportunity to be able
Yeah.
to, to make your own future, then it would be a lot more acceptable. So, in rant on that, but I think it's super important that we celebrate that shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So going back to the rune situation. So a couple of tips on there. Number one, Magic Eden has actually made it very, very easy to be able to sell off any of your runes right now. You cannot unbatch them though, so that sucks. But part of my strategy this week has been to rotate back into some things, because to your point, if you've been around the block a little bit, then you know that once the announcement of a snapshot is announced, it's going to impact, and sometimes severely, the floor price to a particular ordinal or that particular asset, right? So I think that the play in some of those cases is to sell and
And
then
overnight.
rotate. And then rotate back in.
Yeah.
And so that's what I have opted to do. We'll see if that plays well. So far, so good. But that's the route that I'm taking. But not in everything. Not in everything. On some other things, I am huddling until I become rich off of it. So ask me again in a couple of months. But for right now, I'm absolutely partaking into runes, and I continue to buy them, and I'm paying attention to the tickers. But it's with the full expectation that I'm going to lose money on a lot of them. But it's like everything else, right? You play in crypto with only the money that you can afford to fully lose. So that's my perspective going into runes as well. I was pleasantly surprised, though, that there were a lot of other ways that one could participate without having a node. I thought that was really cool, because I think that, you know, while I never thought that the only way that you could buy it was with a node, I fully expected that websites and platforms were going to be shutting down because of the amount of people and because of the infrastructure not being fully developed post happening. And it ended up going pretty well. And there was one, Luminex actually held up, and I was really pleasantly surprised that you could still play without having the node set up only on one platform, which that was kind of funny. But I mean, one is better than zero. So yeah, I'll hand it back to you, Greek Queen, to add anything.
No, I think I'm good. I think you've covered me. I think, I think I need to try and tell that, because, if I'm like walking back everything that I'm doing right now and just trying to see how I can be better in terms of, you need to learn, because there is so much money that I could have made in the bear and I didn't, because I missed on the opportunity. So like, for example, now Runestone, I could have sold at 0.9, bought back at 0.6, still sold it and bought dog at 0.2 just when it launched. You would still have made a lot of money. But then that's again going back to, well, you would have to be there, click, 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 click,
Yes.
click, and just time it perfectly. And honestly, this is, and I'm playing also with shit coins on Solana, and I love them, and you can make so much money, but you can lose money so quickly, and it's exhausting. So I'm just trying to find where I am the strongest at, and things that I enjoy, because it's not fun for me to just watch the screen and be exhausted and wait for something to happen. So I'm trying to.
You participate in a lot of things. Like you do a lot of air farm.
Yeah. Oh God. I am so tired of airdrop farming. I got the ARB airdrop last year. And then I thought, great, I did it the first one. It was my first one. So I'm going to go all in. And then Jupe also happened. And I got a really good airdrop from that. And then I've spent now the last 6 months waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock when I wake up my kids to go to school, 4 hours alone in the computer, just doing, I don't know, 30, 40 different airdrops every day. But I knew that I was sure that, I found my strength. That's my niche. I don't have that much money to invest in big things. I'm going to do airdrops. And I did them all. And I got shit from all, especially W. I made 60,000 worth of transactions across 3 wallets, and I got classed as Sybil, and I got nothing. And honestly, for the, it's hard to be a degen, but being a degen and a mom with 3 kids, and I also run 2 businesses in real life. So when I do invest my time and I get nothing in return, it was just heartbreaking, honestly. So I'm just taking a step back now, and I'm doing ZK Sync and Layer Zero simply because I've been doing them for a year and a half, and I've invested so much money. And I am praying to God that the system that they have, because there's the rumor that it's going to be launching soon, you have to have a Gitcoin passport score above 20. And for anyone who doesn't know, getting a Gitcoin passport above 20 is very expensive and very difficult. So, and you also have to be in their Discord have a Discord longer than 3 months and have the Gitcoin passport longer than a few months to be in there. So I think, and the rumor is that this is going to be the criteria for the airdrop, because if they cross-check my wallets, I've sent money to all of them when I started. So I didn't know about Sybil when I started. So even one transaction, if they want to class it as Sybil, they could. But the thing is, like with airdrops, I think I've talked about this many times also on Easy Show. Jito happened. And everyone thought that they were going to get millions by staking one Solana. And then everything went downhill. And all the airdrops are getting harder and harder to farm. I was farming an airdrop called Satoshi VM, which was in Bitcoin. Really cool. When it launched, it did 250x, groundbreaking. They said they're going to do this massive airdrop, yada, 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 yada. I did about 300 transactions. It was just a bridge. Yeah. So it's also a boring airdrop, you just have to bridge back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, faucet, back and forth, back and forth. So I did about 300 transactions in 2 months, which for me, that's like a lot. And you had to have 1,000 transactions in 2 months to get considered for the airdrop. If you put that in time, like you would have to spend 3 to 4 hours a day just in one protocol. Click, 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 bridge, 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 bridge. I don't have time for this, So yeah, I've been through that. I don't know. I feel like I'm this badge of honor for all the grinding that I've done and that I've got nothing, I'm farming a few things. And I think one of the best airdrops to farm for me is Jupe, because you know that for the next 4 years, every January, you are going to get rewarded based on your contribution to the ecosystem, on how much you've used the protocol, how much you've swapped, etc. So you know that if you use it, you're going to get rewarded. I think the same is with Steppen, because now they've officially pretty much said that the Trailblazer event where they reward everyone, it's going to happen once a year. So you are incentivized to use it. So if you are enjoying it, because for example, I like Jupe, I like swapping, I like shitcoining on Solana and doing things. So this comes easy to me. So I do that easily. So this for me, I know that this will reward me eventually, and I don't mind waiting for a year and grinding this for a year instead of the other things that you had to do so much for 2 months and then you got nothing.
Right.
But you don't get that the first day when you enter this ecosystem. It takes a lot of time and a lot of disappointments. But yeah,
Right.
airdrops are crazy.
Airdrops are crazy, and it's a completely full-time job, and
Yeah,
one
it is.
it is. It's a full-time job, and one that I partake only on very the easy ones, on the super easy ones. The ones that ask me to do too much, I immediately stop. because one has to follow up on it and be like very intentional about it. And and unless I know that it's going to be a significant amount of money, it really is like a job. Like the amount of hours that you put into it. If it's a return on my investment, I will. But if not, forget it, man. There's a lot of other ways to you know. Sometimes you make a lot more money. Honestly, sometimes you make a lot more money by holding on to something, buying something.
Spot holding some of your coins. Yeah,
exactly.
Make more money. Absolutely. No,
Ardetta, do you farm for any airdrops, or is that way too detailed? Oh, we lost her. She either probably had to go or she dropped off. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. Let's go back to Steppen. Yes, because I am curious to know what is the story about the two founders, the female ones who started this. I'd love to know.
Well, the founders of Steppen are two guys, Jon. There's two male people that did the hackathon, and they started Steppen, and then that slowly evolved into Find Satoshi Labs, where they also created the Doer Decks and the Moore Marketplace. They also have another game that recently launched called Gas Hero. So it's like a conglomerate, and if I remember correctly, like in May 22, when GST crashed and like the first sudden collapses of the bear started to happen with Celsius going bankrupt, etc. You know, GST at the time was $9, so you could walk for 10 minutes and get like $100, and then it crashed like 99%. And at that time, Shiti, who's now CEO, came as a marketing director to help turn things around, you know, because there were a lot of degens and there was a lot of, people made thousands and then suddenly they lost everything pretty quickly. So Shiti came at a very critical time for Steppen, you know, and I think she's such a badass, you know, because she navigated herself through Web3 at the time in 2022, and she turned it around, and now she's at the helm, and she spearheaded some great launches and partnerships. And now with Adidas, Erica is a VP in Adidas, and she is heading up the Alts by Adidas, which is like an NFT. So they go together, and then they've created this this partnership, which started with the Genesis, and I think it's going to be a long-term thing. And I think that, well, it's also a really cool story how I actually became a champion, because I had this amazing idea. I live on the island of Crete in Greece. And we're surrounded by mountains and the sea and trails. And one of the things that I focus, because I work in tourism, we run 2 hotels in my family. I focus a lot on sports tourism and trekking tourism and hiking tourism. And we have this very famous trail called the E4 trail. And it's the longest trail in Europe. It starts in Barcelona, crosses the coast of Barcelona, the coast of France, Italy. It goes through mainland Austria, Romania, crosses through Greece, comes down to Crete, crosses the coastline of the south of Crete, and it ends in Cyprus. It's 10,000 kilometers long, and you can walk all parts of it. And we here in Crete have, for me, of course I'm biased, have some of the best parts of that trail. And it's something that I know and I've like marketed for years. So I had this dream years ago when I started with Steppen. Wouldn't it be cool to do an event with Steppen where you just trail through here and then just cross through Europe with Steppen, and also do this legendary thing, you know, but because a lot of people, even people in their 70s and 80s, come and walk these trails because they are so famous. So I pitched them this idea that we need to kind of do a real life trail through the world with Steppen and Adidas, and then create this thing, and then maybe start in Greece and then do the whole of the Mediterranean. And then this could also be bigger, find trails in continents that are very famous and do similar things, and then do a global event, that's much more than crypto and Web3. It's just beyond, and they love the idea, and that's
Loved it. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Hey, and another example of the things that are possible in Web3. I really, really love that. Congratulations on that.
thank you.
hmm I think that you're probably going to be hit up by a lot of sports enthusiasts because it's something that we already do. Not me, I'm
Yeah,
not a sport enthusiast, but those of you that are, um, it's something that you can easily incorporate into your life,
yeah,
right? Which is the entire thesis of how crypto and RWAs and NFTs and all of the above are supposed to make our lives easier and
yeah.
more seamless and not harder.
And the thing is, like, Steppen also did a deal with Apple, and on the Apple Store you can play Steppen, but you can buy Apple credits, which are called Spark. So if you want to, one very, very smart thing that they did is, if you don't want to scare people off, try and
Yeah.
explaining, okay, you need to get some Solana and get a Web3 wallet, and then insert that wallet into your Steppen wallet. You can go onto your Steppen account on the App Store and buy some Spark credits with a credit card, which you can pay with Apple Pay. And then you can use those credits to just buy in items, shoes, and stuff like that. So like a normal game, you know?
What's the upside of owning more than one shoe?
You
Is
earn
it do you get
more.
anything? Ah,
You earn more. Because one shoe is 5 energy, and it's like one energy is 5 minutes. Sorry. So to be fair, you need at least 10 energy, 9 commons, and one uncommon sneaker to say that you've got 45 minutes to start. If you want to say that you want to start playing the game, and then just playing the gems and stuff like that. But you can start slow, and I think they have a very, very good entry point right now. When I started, shoes were $1,500 for one common sneaker. Now you can buy a sneaker for 200 GMT, which is something like $60.
oh,
So yeah. So it's
okay, that's
cute.
kinda I mean, that's a lot more reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, you could get like 3 shoes, and that would give you 20 minutes. And that would be like a good start. I mean, you pay more for expensive sneakers, which you just never ever wear
Yeah.
to do anything. But I think, even for me, that I'm so athletic, I love Steppen because I know that I have to do it. I
Yeah,
haven't missed a day for 2.5 years, simply because I love the accountability of it. I just love it.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, can you drop a link on the spaces? I would love it if you could
Yes.
pin it up because
Right
I'm not
now.
yeah, could you pin it up
Yes.
on the spaces on the link of how to be able to buy one? Where do we go? What marketplace do we go to buy one? Is it on Magic
Yeah.
Eden?
No, it's actually on the Steppen marketplace. It's on the Steppen website. It's called steppen.com. Wait, let me just find the space here. On the space, yeah? Listen live. Okay.
Mhm.
Here, I'm going to do steppen.com. So that's one. And then, do you know what? There's Steppen Market Guide, which is a really cool tool that you can use to, let me see, let me put that here. Okay, here. This is a really cool tool that you can use to filter through what sneakers you wanna get.
Okay.
Because when I got my first sneaker, I got the one that was the prettiest, which was because of course I didn't understand. So it was like, I want the high top, and I like these pastel colors, which of course was wrong. But yeah, to start off, definitely read through the white paper. It's super easy. There's a huge amount of information on Twitter, and they have huge support in Discord as well. And they have a lot of language channels as well. So, or reach out to some of the champions. We're always very happy to help. So there is definitely a lot of information that can help guide people to onboard. And one of the other things um, was mentioned before, that we need to make sure before we onboard our family that they don't click a link and get scammed. Because Steppen became so popular, of course a lot of things happened, but they have done a lot of measures. They've taken a lot of measures to protect yourself from it. So when you create your account, you also have Google, if you have your Google Authenticator, you do an email link. So there's certain steps that there weren't there before. So it's very hard now to, it's harder. Okay, let's not say it's impossible, but there are a lot of steps there to protect you and to make sure that, if you invest, even if you invest $200, maybe that's a lot of money for some people, that you are protected in a way, as long as you follow the right steps and you protect yourself with the Google Authenticator. And of course, you never share your passwords when they email them to you, etc.
Yeah, that's awesome. Aside from the Adidas drop, are there any other future Adidas drops alpha that you want to share with us, or any other kind of alpha that you want to share with us?
Well, I think one of the things that I would like to do is to start maybe actually start planning a real life event with Steppen. There's a lot of events that are happening. They did a great meetup in Dubai, and they did a great meetup in Hanoi, and we had a great meetup in Athens a few years ago. But I'm thinking like further, how can you break the boundaries? And I think they'll keep us guessing with Adidas. I think the start was with this Genesis, and we're brainstorming about things. But I think real life events where they can both be a part of, and they are in a bigger scale. I think like a big trail, like a marathon and stuff like that. I think these are things that we're definitely going to be seeing more of. And Steppen, they've just had they have now the Honeyland collaboration, which is also really cool. And they've done so many cool collaborations. They did a collaboration with Soulflare Wallet. They did some limited edition Genesis sneakers, which again sold out. They are teaming up with some of the major brands that are around. So, I wouldn't be surprised if something even bigger comes about.
Yeah,
So we're going to be here to talk all about it.
I'm super looking forward to continuing to see what you guys build. I'm going to go and make sure that I get my Solana sneakers. If you're listening to the Twitter Spaces right now, make sure that you retweet, because I'm about to close it, guys. Make sure that you retweet, like and retweet, I should say, the post that I have pinned up to the top. Greek Queen, it has been amazing having you on the show today. I'm so proud of you for being an ambassador champion for Steppen. And I think that, like I said before, I think that it takes a special type of person, a special type of woman to be able to balance a lot of different things, a lot of different moving parts that we have as parents, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as human beings, that we like to pretend and think that we have 24 hours, actually 30 hours a day to keep up on Web3. But when you're trying to balance out like real life things and Web3 and take on different roles in Web3, I think that you deserve all of the flowers and all of the kudos.
Thank you. You deserve all the flowers. I look up to you. I adore you. I'm so happy to be in this little group that we have. I feel so honored, and thank you for having me, for letting me talk about Steppen and my life in Web3. And, I can't wait to be back.
Of course. Hey, and drop somewhere your workout routine, girl, because the world needs to know.
I will in our chat.
Yes, please do so. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for today's show. If this is your first time tuning in, you have been tuned into If You Know, You Know. We do this show every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every single week, I bring on amazing people in this space, amazing speakers, amazing topics that we have lined up for you of what is going on in the space today. Also, historic things and what we are looking forward to. What are you buying? What are you selling? What are you interested in? What are people building? And I always like to know the people behind the screen and what makes you tick. So if you ever want to be on the show or you have some recommendations on who we should have on the show, we're 2 years strong going into this show. From the moment that Twitter Spaces landed on Twitter, we started doing the show. So, love to bring on new people every single day. If you haven't checked out TAO, which is the BRC20 foundation that I have partnered with in order to launch mini wells, then do yourself a favor and go to my pinned tweet or to my profile. Start learning about it because I'm going to be talking about it a lot more sooner. It's a special baby of mine that I've been working on in this show. So again, I always end by saying, look, you could have been anywhere and you chose to be with us. I'm so grateful for all of your time and for everybody who's viewing in today. We do this show, like I said, every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you didn't know, now you know, baby. See you guys next week. Bye, everybody.